Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Business Beyond the Beach in partnership with our friends here at Miami Community Newspapers. My name is Brittnie Bassant, President and CEO of Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we are so thrilled to have you joining us for another episode. Huge shout out to our coffee sponsor, Maman. Of course, they have locations all across the county, but our favorite store is their Sunset Harbor location in South Beach. And now I am so thrilled to introduce my guest. This is Mr. Alfredo J. Gonzalez. Not only is he a shareholder at Greenberg Traurig, but more importantly, he is the chair-elect, incoming chair for the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. Alfredo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Well, and I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, we're so excited. So we're going to talk about this exciting new transition, which is you coming into the role of chairman of the Board of Governors, Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. You've been chair-elect now for a year. Of course, you've been involved with the board for a number of years. But let's talk a little bit about that, like you stepping into the role of chairman. Talk to me about your involvement with the chamber, some of the roles that you've held throughout your tenure at the chamber, and then what it means for you to be stepping into this role as chairman.
Well, I've been involved with the chamber now for about 20 years, and I have had multiple roles. I've been vice chair. I've been obviously chair-elect most recently. I've chaired committees. I co-chaired the Education Foundation, and I've had the opportunity to work with so many different chairmen. And in addition to not just the chamber, but I've also been involved with Miami Beach, City of Miami Beach, and county boards, and some other not-for-profits. So combining all that experience, I'm very excited now to lead and keep building on what my predecessors have done at the chamber and continue to build this 104-year-old organization. Yes,
104 years old. Chamber is a very well-established, long-standing organization in the city of Miami Beach, and we have a strong partnership with the city, so it's really exciting to hear about your experience there, too, to make sure that partnership not only continues, but strengthens and deepens, and having you at the helm, I think, is going to really move that forward. I think all of our chairmen have done that, and so we're really excited to have you on board. And you are also a long-time resident of the city of Miami Beach, so your family's been there for a number of years. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that personal connection ties in to you taking on this role with the chamber and your vision for the future of not just Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, but the city of Miami Beach as a whole.
Well, Miami Beach is the city I've grown up in. I've lived in Miami Beach for almost over 50 years. And even beforehand, as a kid, we used to come on vacation at the hotels in Miami Beach in the early 70s. So I've watched how it's transformed. My family has had restaurants for over 45 years, from North Beach through Boy St. Jeanette to David's Cafe 1 and 2 on South Beach for over 40 years. And seeing the transformation of Miami Beach has been very exciting. From when there was very little on the city, and the city government, as you mentioned, didn't have enough money to fix a pothole, to the renaissance we have today. So I find that exciting.
To the $1 billion budget that's been passed, and with an $11 million surplus from last year, actually, too. So, yes, the city's in a great position, incredible position. So let's talk about this role with you coming in as chairman. Tell me what this means to you on a very personal level and what excites you the most about it.
Well, it's part of giving back. My family's about giving back, and it's important. And the chamber, it's my hometown chamber where I grew up, and I want to continue to build and make it a better place for everybody. And I think the chamber is perfectly positioned to work with the city, the residents, because all together we need to combine to make a great city. You don't have a budget that you do without small and big business working together.
Yeah, the entire ecosystem is incredibly important, and all the different parts of that ecosystem is incredibly important. So you just mentioned that you are looking forward to building and growing. So what are some of your key priorities that you are going to focus on during your tenure as chair? And for those of you that don't know, your tenure as chair is going to be a 2-year tenure. So there's a lot of time for you, because a lot of times you have like 1-year terms as chair. A lot of organizations have 1-year terms as chair. And the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, we really feel that a 2-year term gives the chairman the opportunity to really get priorities and initiatives off the ground and see them through. So what are some of your key priorities as you take the helm of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce?
I think my number one key priority is that the chamber needs to take a more active role and with small and large businesses in Miami Beach and really work with the cities and residents, because, like I said, only when they all work together will the city succeed. The last thing we want is for the city the budgets to go down, and it's all the development, all the businesses around us that allow the great things, like we saw each other last week at opening of a new park. That's funded through all the efforts from the chamber and the businesses.
And are there any other priorities that you're looking at focusing on? I know that our education is something that's very near and dear to you and near and dear to your heart. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
So exactly. We have the Education Foundation, and that's one area in the chamber that's done so much for this community that people aren't aware of. The hundreds of thousands of dollars that are donated, the health workers that are in all the feeder schools to Miami Beach Senior High, go High Tides. My 40-year anniversary is next month. And getting more attention for their needs. So I feel that the Education Foundation is one area that the chamber needs to focus more, and people need to be aware of how much the chamber does for our community. That's to the benefit mostly of the residents. Absolutely.
I think one of the things that I'm a big proponent of and constantly driving the messaging home on is a lot of people think that a chamber is just sort of like, business networking. And I always remind people that that's just a third of what we do. We do a lot of business to government, and then we also have a very robust business to community arm. And that's through our philanthropic arm, which is the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation, where we're fundraising for our local public schools. And it's so incredibly important. I think it's something that we don't talk about enough, but we're going to change that. And we're going to really, really tout that and promote that and do a better job of raising money. And to that point, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that our Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation will be participating in Give Miami Day this year,
right,
which is really exciting for us to just sort of get that visibility with Miami Foundation, and also to show our community that we are an active local nonprofit that's fundraising for the schools, and you can support that effort on Give Miami Day. So we're really, really excited about that. We've talked a lot about you and coming in as chairman, and that officially happens October 9th, this Thursday, October 9th. That's the date of our annual meeting. It's at the W Hotel from 5 to 7:30 p.m. It's a very ceremonial event where we swear in you as our new chairman, our new board of governors. Talk to me about this evening. Talk to me about why that. It's one I think a very meaningful event for our organization, especially on the board side, on the leadership side. But tell me your thoughts about it and why it's so important to you, and also let's encourage people to come out that night.
Well, what's important to the board, and I'll start off by that, I think it's an opportunity, it's an annual meeting that we have to really highlight and recap all the accomplishments we've had over the last year. So it's where we get all our members, the general members, the pillars, the chairman's circles, all coming together, our civic leaders. We invite residents all to come together and see all the accomplishments over the last year. And this year we also have paying tribute to our outgoing chairman, Rich Siegel, which has done such great things, and I have big shoes to follow. And on a personal note, I find it's very special because Miami Beach is part of my home. And the fact that I'll be sworn in as chair, be actually only the second Cuban-American Hispanic in the chamber in 104 years, is a nice little bonus. And the icing on the cake to me is that it's during Hispanic Heritage Month. So
absolutely. There's a lot of so with the annual meeting, one thing that I love about that event is that it really shows the collaboration of all of our partners coming together. It shows not just the chamber and our members, but our partners from across other organizations, our relationship with city and county officials. It really just brings the whole community together to celebrate and look forward. It's usually our year in review. Like you said, we kind of talk about our accomplishments and our achievements. We talk about what we have done and what we plan on doing. We look at the past a little bit. We talk about the present in terms of swearing you in, and then we look to the future of the things that we hope to accomplish. And so this year, our theme is legacy and leadership, which I think is so fitting, especially as we, like you said, pay tribute to Rich's outgoing chairman. But then we're going to have a really fun, Alfredo, let it slip a little bit, and I'll elaborate on a little bit more. It is during Hispanic Heritage Month. It is very special and meaningful for you as only the second Hispanic chair of the chamber. And so we're going to have a fun twist on this, and we're going to make it fun. There's going to be mariachis, there's going to be dominoes, there's going to be a Latin flair throughout throughout the entire night. So again, we really encourage you to join us. It's this Thursday, October 9th at the W Hotel from 5 to 7:30 p.m. You can register online at our website, miamibeachchamber.com.
Please come.
And please come support Alfredo, cheer him on as he takes on this exciting new role. And we can talk about this. I always joke around that, I'll introduce you and I'll say, oh, Alfredo J. Gonzalez, and he's the chair-elect or the chair of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. And in his free time, you were also a shareholder at Greenberg Traurig, which is an incredibly well-respected, international law firm. And so for those that are not familiar, talk a little bit. We're going to give some time to what you do for a living and some spotlight on Greenberg. So talk a little bit about the firm, talk a little bit about your role. Just tell, for those that are not familiar, I can't imagine that someone's not familiar with Greenberg because it's such a pillar in the community, but let's chat a little bit about your law firm.
No, sure. And Greenberg Traurig is also a testament to this community. They were founded in 1967 here in Miami by a couple partners, and it's a focus of a business, real estate, and land use firm. So, and it has grown over the years, and now we have 49 offices across the world in Asia, Middle East, Europe, Latin America, all over the United States, and we have over 8,600 partners in the firm.
So incredibly impressive.
It started with the 4 partners, and it just has grown since then. And I feel fortunate that I follow some of the mentors, including one of the founding partners, Bob Traurig, in land use and zoning and development, which is what I focus my practice on. And I've had the opportunity to work on a lot of projects in Miami Beach, throughout South Florida, and really see the end result of my work. Because when you work on a project, whether it's a historic building, restoration of a historic building, or new building, and you see all the steps it gets to the construction and the opening of that building, and then you drive by and you see it, you get to see the fruits of your labor. So we continue to grow as a firm, and we're involved in so many parts of this community and the country and internationally.
That's absolutely incredible and so impressive. And you talked about just seeing those tangible results from the work that you do, which I think is important. And so taking some of the experience, because your experience with Greenberg has really, and your legal and professional experience has really sort of shaped who you are as a person today and also how you lead. And so talk to me a little bit about how you plan on leveraging some of those skills in your leadership now with the chamber.
Well, I've had the opportunity over the last over 20 years at Greenberg, and before that I worked in Miami-Dade County for 10 years on the flip side. So I've worked on both sides of government, for the private sector, for the public sector, and made a lot of relations along the way. I think that leveraging all those relationships and experiences will help the chamber and keep moving the chamber as we continue to grow. Many organizations had their faltered during the pandemic. We have come back strong as ever, and under my chairmanship, I want to follow the footsteps of my predecessors to increase the exposure for the chamber.
And I think that's why you're so uniquely positioned to be chair, having the experience on both sides, working on the government side, but then on the private side, you understand how the two need to work together to be able to move something forward, because you've been on both sides of the coin. So I think that's really, really exciting. When you look back at your career, can you pinpoint a moment, or was there an experience that you really feel was a challenge, but that also helped you grow and sort of accelerate your career development? Do you want to talk about that? Or what was something along those lines, like a challenge that really sort of pushed you and made you think differently and maybe acquire a new set of skills or change your mindset about something, and how that affected your career development?
Well, I think the transition from being a government employee for 10 years to Greenberg and gave me a completely different perspective. And all of a sudden, I was looking at things from different eyes and taking from my experiences working in the county and dealing with the city, because I served on city boards back then as well. So that, to me, set the foundation that when I walked into Greenberg, it allowed me to recalibrate and adapt to being a private sector attorney. And I think made it a little more interesting when it came to dealing with projects, because I understand both sides, and I understand the considerations of government and their priorities, and finding the balance where everybody gets to win.
Finding the balance where everybody gets to win. I think that's so incredibly important. And that is something I think as a leader is so important to always remember, finding that balance where everyone gets to win. Okay, Alfredo, so we're getting ready to wrap up, and I have 2 more questions for you. You are Miami Beach guy through and through. And you are about to be the next chairman of Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. And I know personally that you're just like a man about town. So for those that are watching, what are some insider tips you have for Miami Beach? Whether it's like your favorite place to go to unwind, favorite restaurant, hidden gems. What are some of those? I mean, maybe you don't want to give them all away because then they won't be like your little hidden gems or best kept secrets anymore. But what are some of those places that you'd want to highlight or shout out or say, hey, you're if you don't experience this, then you're not really getting a taste of Miami Beach?
That's a loaded question, by the way. And I get asked that a lot. Oh, where should I go? Actually, I ran into some tourist yesterday who asked me that question. He goes, where should we go? And there's so many places that it's hard for me to tell you what my favorite are. I mean, it depends on the mood.
Right.
I mean, we could go down to Smith and Walensky and watch the cruise ships, have a great meal, and watch the ships coming in and out by the port. I also get to stare at some projects I work. That's an extra bonus.
See those tangible fruits of your labor.
There you go.
Yes.
But North Beach has exciting places, like whether it's Silver Lake Bistro, and there's new places open every day. And if you're in Mid Beach, I love going to Cafe Avanti and having my chicken parm like many of our members do.
You will be sure to run into a lot of chamber board members almost every night at Cafe Avanti.
It becomes a hotbed.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to tell you one place. You go to Sunset Harbor, they have a couple of charming places. Great pizza, sushi. There's a little bit for every flavor.
Yeah.
And whatever your desire.
And I love that you made it a point to mention all the different neighborhoods in Miami Beach. It's not just South Beach. We've got a thriving Mid Beach and North Beach area. And I know under your chairmanship, we're going to do a better job of sort of connecting all of that, connecting the whole city and working really collaborative alongside our partners in those areas. So as we wrap up, this is my final question to you. And it's, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self at the beginning of your career, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, it sounds like a Back to the Future kind of question. It was a great movie, though.
I love it. I love it.
But I almost want to rather give advice to the young professional starting out.
By all means.
And to me, it's very important to not let opportunities slip you by, to take advantage of all opportunities and leave doors open. Mm-hmm. And they should know, I tell our young associates and people starting in their life that you should judge your success by the contributions you give back to the community you're in. That's how you should judge success. And when you do that, I think you become a much more enriched person and have a more fulfilled life.
I absolutely love that. There is a lot of people like to say, there's a lot of luck at play, right? And I'm a firm believer of the fact that, or of the quote that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So as you said, always be prepared to take advantage of the opportunities. Don't let them slip you by. And then, of course, measure your success on what you are able to contribute back to your community. And I think those are beautiful words to end this amazing episode of Business and Beyond the Beach with our incoming chairman, Mr. Alfredo J. Gonzalez. Do not forget, October 9th, this Thursday, October 9th, is our annual meeting at the W Hotel on Miami Beach, South Beach, from 5 to 7:30. Again, this has been another episode of Business Beyond the Beach in partnership with our friends here at Miami Community Newspapers. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.